and welcome to Sparring Sessions. My name is Siasat, and today we are joined by a very special sports analyst to share his thoughts to us about the recently concluded showdown between Nonito Donaire and Oubaali. Walang iba kundi si Sev Sarmenta. Kuya Sev, maraming salamat po sa oras.
Hello, good afternoon, JM. Hello, everybody.
Okay. Kuya, nakita natin, Father Time is nothing to Nonito Donaire. At 38 years old, he just made history anew. He won the WBC World Super Bantamweight title, the oldest fighter to actually win that title in boxing history. Your thoughts po regarding that contest and kanyang performance?
I think it's understandable that is the story, yung oldest to win the title. Ganon din kay Phil Mickelson ng isang araw that he was the oldest to win the PGA. And si Tom Brady, meron din sinasabing the oldest. I think we have to come to terms with the fact that athletes and elite athletes who have trained very hard for a very long time and have no injuries, have been faithful to their discipline, have eaten well, have taken care of themselves well, will last even longer than the previous generation. Yung generation, let's say nila Flashy Lorde, o kahit ni Muhammad Ali, sila by the time they were 32, 33, well, they were old na by that time. But training, genetics probably has something to do with it, and diet has something to do with it. Like I'm sure we're going to talk about Manny Pacquiao, who at 42 is scheduled to fight. So I think we will come to terms with the fact that age will no longer be too much of a factor unless you say he's too old and he hasn't trained.
Lagi lang sinasabi, Kuya Seb, when it comes to boxing, your style, how you do your fights, has something to do with your shelf life. Isa na lang katunayan dyan, isang example dyan is Floyd Mayweather. He was able to fight until the later stage of his career because hindi siya tumatanggap ng punishment in his fights. Nonito Donaire, though very technical to, he's not like, the kind of Floyd Mayweather na purely defensive fighter, So, would you attribute still this to his style or just healthy living, or what can we attribute this performance to?
I have to agree with you that the style has something to do with it. Floyd Mayweather is smart. He is a very defensive fighter. He refused to mix it up with Manny Pacquiao, whether Pacquiao had a bad shoulder or anything. Magulang, mautak. Walang masama sa sport yun pag sinabi mong magulang kasi compliment yun. Si Nonito kanina, nakita ko nung first few rounds. Sabi ko, wow, malakas, mabilis yung kalaban. And one of the things that Nonito has been problematic with is his hands through the years. When he really throws that left hook, it really messes up his hands. But it looks like he was so well prepared. He was so calculating. I have read different quotes from him saying that he knew exactly what he was going to do today. Not that he was being overconfident, sobra kumpiyansa, cocky, but parang alam niya yung gagawin niya. Tingin ko yung kalaban, I'm sure mas alam mo to JM kaysa sa akin, yung kalaban mukhang agresibo, mukhang mabilis ang kamay. At saka maingay na boksingero, sumisitsit di ba?
Yeah.
Alam mo, pagka walang audience masyado, impressive yung maingay na boksingero, yung sumisitsit na ganun pero mukhang tansyado ni Nonito yung gagawin niya. Sa akin, pinaka-impressive yung knockdown punch to end the third round. Boom! Sa pool. Sa akin, yung dulo, expected na yun. Yung first was medyo may preparasyon, may hollow opening, pero yung pangalawa, yung at the bell, crafted yun. Well, masterfully crafted yun.
Actually, sabi mo nga, Kuya Sev, when it comes to styles, kasi if you would look at Nonito Donaire historically, he first came to the spotlight when he defeated Vic Darchinyan. I believe that was in 2007, when I actually studied Oubaali po for this fight, sabi ko sa sarili ko, because a lot of people are saying that Donaire is done. A lot of people is, sees him as an underdog dito sa laban na to. Personally, I don't. Kasi if you would look at history, the first time he won a world title was against Victor Chinian. Hindi sila very similar na style, pero he does really well against an unorthodox southpaw, which is ganun din ang inabot sa kanya ni Victor Chinian. And the problem with, if you're an orthodox southpaw and you do not have such great fundamentals, it's really going to be a problem fighting someone like Nonito Donaire. Kasi the moment na ibaba mo lang yung kamay mo, biglang may papasok eh. And that's how he actually got the first knockdown. Kasi fundamentally speaking, you're not supposed to throw your left. And then you put your right hand down. But Oubaali, he's not so much fundamentally sound sa sweet science. Binaba niya. Actually, kuya, kung titingnan mo yung angle na yun, halos di mo makita yung suntok eh. Yeah. Isipin mo, ting opening lang and he was able to sneak in a left hook. And to me, I think the most impressive in that part is at 38 years old, grabe pa rin yung reflexes ng Nonito Donaire, no? You'd think at this age, kuya, he would slow down, but I would say na maybe he slowed down a bit, pero yung technique, the power is the last to go. I think we can all agree with that, as showcased by the likes of George Foreman against Michael Moore. It's always the last to go eh. But ikaw, kuya, at 38 years old, do you see Nonito Donaire na may nag-decline in some aspects of his game?
I think he's a little more calculated. I think he's a little more perceptive. Yung hanap niya ng angulo was so clear kanina. In fact, nung nawala yung even rounds nung araw, I love giving even rounds eh, pero nawala sa scoring yun. I would have given the first round to his opponent kanina. So just for aggressiveness. And I felt, wow, Nonito, you're the challenger. You've got to put up something here. But true to form, binasa niya yung sitwasyon, came up with better punches in the second round, and did great punches, great combinations, especially in the third round. Kaya nga yung third round, base bell beater niya, sa akin pinakamaganda. Kasi yun yung sinasabi mo, binabana nung kalaban yung kanyang guard eh. Ala niya, tapos na yung round eh, di ba? At saka hilupe, di ba?
Yes, he was hurt, yes.
Pero ang galing ng referee, no? Nakita mo yung officiating kanina? Reese yata yung pangalan ng referee.
Yes, he's a very good referee. Yes, very good referee.
Ang ganda ng piece of officiating. First time I saw a situation like that. At the bell, hindi niya pinatunog yung bell. Binilangan niya, tinanong niya si Frenchman kung lalapit ka, okay ka pa, condition, sa kanya pinatunog yung bell. Sabi ko, maayos ng referee na to.
Yeah, actually, nung nakita ko nga yung kanina, kuya, I thought there was gonna be a problem. Kasi if you notice, the punch came after the bell. Pero at the same time, after the bell eh. So at the same time, you cannot fault Donaire for throwing that punch and landing that punch.
Momentum yun eh.
Yeah. And at the same time, the referee wasn't there to stop it.
Yeah.
Diba?
At saka, alam mo, JM din, kung minsan, pag when we watch video, make slight delay yan between real time and the video lapse, tapos international pa, no? That's valid. Siguro split second yung difference. But momentum eh. Kung nakawala na eh. Pak! Diba? At saka yung boksingero does not look at the clock naman eh. Diba? Even if there's a clock inside the different venues, hindi naman tumitingin ng relo. Ang corner ang magsasabi nun eh. Kung ilang seconds. Hindi. Saka hindi ba yung cue ng boksingero, yung clapper na 10 seconds?
Yes, 10 seconds clapper, yes.
Yun, medyo tansyado. Pero kasi napabagsak na niya ng third eh. Tapusin ko kaya. Para kung magtuloy pa to sa fourth, at least ilo to. And exactly what happened.
Well, kuya, since na-mention mo yung fourth round, no? I mean, personally, I really like what he did in the fourth round, no? He just didn't come out there swinging. Kasi ako po, kuya, lagi kong sinasabi sa boxing, boxers tend to forget how they actually scored the knockdown. Kasi sometimes, what happens is, they score a counter punch, they get a knockdown, and then suddenly they go all out. Chances are, sometimes makikita mo sa ibang boxer, they punch themselves out. Di ba? So, mga ganong instances kasi makikita mo sa boxer na teka, nakalimutan niya how he scored the knockdown. But not Nonito Donaire, his experience, his technique really came to play. Kasi when he came out for the fourth round, makikita mo na calculated pa rin eh. Hindi niya minadali. Kumbaga, hinimay niya pa rin. Your thoughts po doon sa pag-end niya nung fight din towards the end. Nung
I think tama ka kasi masyado ng season, masyadong batak, masyado ng bating itong si Nonito. In his earlier previous fights, you could fault him for being careless at times, maybe the condition. He had many issues. We also know that about his father. He had different issues, mga things that distract him. Mukhang this time around, focused siya, and I think he wants to end his career with a flourish. And looking down the road, I think he's reviewing now the lineup of the bantamweights that are available. And interesting, mukhang may Pilipino yatang naka-line up dun sa ano. Ano tingin mo dun? Parang inevitable yun, ano? Parang mangyayari yun, ano?
Kasi kuya, this division, I mean, hindi naman siya sobrang ngayon hindi siya sobrang stacked eh. I mean, right now, andyan na yung huli niya nakalaban before Oubaali, si Naoya Inoue. Yung kapatid ni Inoue andun din. And then, Janriel Casimiro is there, who is going to fight Guillermo Rigondo. Actually, I was about to ask you din that, kuya eh, kung ano sa tingin mo ang next for Nonito Donaire, given, you know, if you look at the bantamweight picture, I'm picking Guillermo Rigondo to actually beat Janriel Casimiro, no, when they fight. Do you think that's something that people would want to see, or is that, you think, an entertaining rematch at all, given how it ended back in 2013?
Well, if Donaire had that impressive win today, I think the next objective is to clean up that division before he calls it quits. Ano na to eh? Legacy building, ipon-ipon na ng pera for the long run. He's 38. You never know how far he will go, even if he really is fit and conditioned. The boxer, the boxer is the only one who can really tell himself and will know when to call it quits. And each boxer, each fight is career defining. So what was defined here today? Sabi ni Nonito, mga chong, hindi pa ako tapos. Ako'y meron pang ibubuga. Because the story would have been different if he had failed today, and everybody is going to say, maybe tapos na ang boxing para kay Nonito. Mukhang the horizon suddenly opened up again, and Nonito says, come on, anybody who wants to fight me. And just a comment about the possibility of a fight with Casimiro. I think we have to come to terms with that. It's going to happen. Americans fight Americans, Mexicans fight Mexicans, and this is professional sports. So we have to come to terms with that. And I look forward to Donaire having a couple of more fights before he actually retires. 2, 3, I don't know. Depende sa takbo ng next fight niya. I'm sure ang mga cellphone ng mga promoter at saka mga bossing umaandar sa mga sandaling ito.
Kaya nabanggit nga natin si Casimiro. Do you think people would still be interested in watching that fight? In the event lang po, kung sakali lang, na talunin ni Rigondo itong si Janriel Casimiro? Or do you think people would actually want to see Donaire in a second fight with Rigondo instead?
Baka yun. Kasi mas madali i-promote yun, parang rematch. Pag Pilipino sa Pilipino, di ba si Angkahas nagkaroon ng isang fight Filipino sa Pilipino?
Yes, kay Jonas Sultan po at 115 pounds.
Yung nanalo si Angkahas, no? Then everybody was, di ba, alam mo na, social media, biglang abuzz. Wala yan, nagbibigayan yung dalawa. Pinoy, iba manood ang Pinoy. Ibang kiliti ng Pilipino pag nanood ng boxing. Iba rin ang sentimento niya. So I would go with the first fight that you mentioned. That would be more interesting, and it would be a rematch. Well, bakit? Ayaw mo yung Inoue? Ayaw mo yung Inoue? Hindi mo type yun?
Well, kuya, kasi I think that the story is over between him and Inoue. I mean, they already went 12 rounds against each other. And Inoue right now is the second-rated pound-per-pound fighter. I'm not saying that, Nonito is this or that. I'm just saying that I feel like binalian na ng orbital bone to ni Nonito nung huling naglaban sila, and yet Inoue won. I just feel like, those kinds of matches doesn't warrant warrant rematch. Kasi, it was a clear-cut win for Inoue. So I don't feel like they should head into that direction po. Ako lang po, in my opinion. So I think he should explore, other fighters naman po sa 118 division.
And that's where the promoters come in. And now the money will talk. He's the champion, or he will go for unification. It depends on which letters of the alphabet are playing. WBA, WBC, whatever alphabets are there in the boxing world. Um, enjoy. I think Nonito should enjoy the moment for now, and then let his promoters, whoever is handling him, start dialing the numbers to see where it happens. Maswerte siya, nagkaroon siya ng fight dito sa Carson City ba ito? And a showtime fight. Medyo maraming tao nanood kanina, no? Mukhang unti-unti na bumabalik ang sports, and he's most likely going to be a headliner again. If ever sa Las Vegas again.
Okay. I have a few more questions for you, Kuya Sev. Ito, lagi sinasabi ni Nonito Donaire before na it got to a point that he fell so much in love with his power that he doesn't throw combinations enough. Doesn't throw, many combinations na pag lumalaban siya. Kanina, mapapansin mo, pa isa-isa pa rin yung, yung bato niya. Though he throws combinations, when it comes to, the aging of his technique, do you think he was able to go back to his old self na sinasabi niya before, I want to start throwing more combinations again? Or do you think he got stuck there sa parang in love sa power, throwing one punch at a time?
I think when the opponent was about to fall, you go to your human nature, natural instincts. Tapusin na natin to. Bihirang-bihira yung boksingero that I have yet to see, even at that elite level, yung to go back na hindi babalikan yung kanyang basic instincts. Manny Pacquiao, for instance, di ba? Ando pa rin yung desire iba pa rin yung power ng Pacquiao. Like yung Mexican fighter, si Juan Manuel Marquez, kahit tactician. Kahit ako, ang tingin ko, the only one I've really seen under control would have to be Jerry Peñalosa. Si Jerry, kahit na nagkakagulo mundo, yung pa rin ng tapo niya, pero at the precise moment, gugulpin ka niya ng technique niya before you know it, knockdown. I went with Jerry the fight in Korea in 97, and natamaan siya sa pulse, but he came back very slowly and returned to his technology, so to speak. Si Nonito, I think in the second and third rounds was a little more precise and a little more tactician, pero nung pumasok na yung game na. Kasi kita niya spaghetti na yung legs ng kalaban, kaya decisive yung yung at the bell na tinamaan Pam! To wala na to. They will not. Kulang yung 1 minute para i-revive yung bata niyo. Wala na to. Di ba? You and I have seen that many times. May agyo sa utak, may cobwebs, may kung ano-ano maandar. Kita mo yung mali pa yung guide ng referee papunta sa corner Kanina, nagalit pa yung kalaban Sabi niya, ba't mo ako dinadala doon ng corner ko? Parang naghahanap siya ng scapegoat at that moment. But I don't blame Nonito if that was the way to finish it. Alam mo, to be totally honest, sabi ko nung nakita ko ng first and 2 rounds, di ba, mas maliit yung kalaban. Habang laban ito. Abot to ng 8-9. Unless, kaya nung nakita ko yung opening, mabuti tinapos na niya. Pabor sa 38, 39, 40, mas maiksi ang laban.
Yes. Actually, Kuya, at this rate, kasi they always say that when it comes to fighters, activity is very important. Totoo naman. But when you're at the twilight of your career, nasa gantong edad ka na, the likes of Manny Pacquiao, the likes of Nonito Donaire, I think it would do you better sa isang boxer if you will take a bit more rest, maybe fight once a year. Parang yung ginawa ni Manny. I mean, right now, the last time he fought was July of 2019. Of course, it wasn't his choice, but I believe that it would do them more good kung ganun. Kasi when you're in your prime, mas bata-bata ka. If possible, the minimum that you fight in a year, twice a year Diba? Mike Tyson.
Yeah, sure. Because the issue is the recovery. Kahit na clear winner si Nonito kanina, may tinamaan din siya. And you and I know that yung mga tama na yan, sasabihin ng boksingero, hindi, wala yan. Pero if you ask the boxers away from the microphone, tinamaan ako, sapul ako. And you are absolutely correct in. But once nagtitrain kasi yung boksingero, walang kalendaryo walang edad Di ba? Once they start feeling good in sparring, once they feel good in training, they feel, tsaka they want to be back to where they will be themselves. Manny continues to fight because he is Manny Pacquiao, and he is himself when the fish is in the water, so to speak. He is trying other things with his life, but he knows, ini-squeeze niya yung fruit until lumabas lahat ng posibleng juice. Hanggang saan niya pwede i-squeeze. And Nonito will do the same thing. 38 is young in human years, pero sa boksingero, ako, tanda na yan.
Yes, totoo naman. And I think Nonito, to be fair to him, I think for a 38-year-old fighter, very fresh, ang ganda pa ng galaw, technique, power, speed still there. Last question for Nonito Donaire, Kuya Sev. You told me kanina you see a couple more fights left in him, but if ever, sabi nga natin, they will, continue to fight as long as they could. Do you see Donaire with his style and everything considered? Do you see him like Manny fighting beyond his 40s po?
Wala pa ako nakikita sa division na shining star na he might be in a good division where he knows the opponents and the opponents are in awe of him right now. I think the buzz right now inside that bantamweight division is, hey, he's back. Just when you think he was done and over with, magdalawang isip tayo. So those guys are probably telling their managers, yes, I will fight Donaire at this price. Yes, I will do this, but it has to be here and this price. So the phones are abuzz. I see Donaire still fighting. Hard to say 2 or 3. It depends on the next one. Kasi ako ang lagi kong attitude, each fight for the fight boxer is career defining. So ano definition, as we said today, boxing will still be a part of Nonito Donaire's life. He will continue to fight. At mukhang mukhang quick on his feet without overly being enthusiastic. We've seen a younger Donaire na masyadong ganghon, pasok ng pasok. Ito medyo senior citizen ang approach nito sa fight kanina. Angguluhan kita, bata. Alam ko champion ka, pero teka, angguluhan kita.
Yeah, I agree. Mas mas conservative na po siya sa paggamit ng kanyang stamina and energy at 38 years old. I also agree with that. Sabi mo nga po kanina, Kuya Sev, more calculated.
Yep, and I think it comes with age. Don't we all with age?